So today, a few things. Zohar from Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, parsha tzav. It says number 61 of chapter 8. Why should the ignorant be patient with a wise student? Since the Torah scholars like the Shabbos day, he should be with nothing of his own. If the ignorant man is generous toward him with his money and is in the habit of doing his wish to attend upon him and observe the precepts as he desires, Hashem, you preserve man and beast, shall be fulfilled in him. He will observe him from theft and robbery and from the angel of death. And so that the angel of death will have no power over to slaughter him with his blemished knife. And whatever is slaughtered with a blemished knife is a carcass not slaughtered ritually, of which it is written in Shemos 22:30, you shall cast it to the dogs, which is, they call him Sammy, but really his name is Samael. Number 41 of chapter 5. Also of this portion, tzav. Oh wait, one more thing. Yeah, wait, number 41 and number... So numbers 41 of chapter 5. Guilt and sins are like adhesions to the lungs, like thorns in the flesh, and not allowing her flight, or to ascend and blow, breathed by the Holy Spirit wind. Number 44 of chapter 5, it's the central pillar with the right and left attached to it, which are chesed and gevura. Chesed, right hand, left arm, gevura. It's like a man's body holding two arms, or an eagle with two wings attached to it with which to fly. I have a bird on my ring. I don't know if you could see it. It's similar to a dove to which two wings are attached. She's likened to the Torah and her wings to the positive precepts. In the same manner, the negative precepts with which she rises and flies are her snares, like birds caught in a trap, and all her snares keep her from flying and are called adhesions. The membranes that keep the wings of the lungs from blowing. They're like, become membranes that hold things, God forbid. Or may we all have healing. On the website Inter-Inclusion, Derrida from Aporias, page 13 to 14. The father loses his son like that, in gaining him and educating him and raising him and in involving him in the family circle, which comes down to helping him leave, to pushing him outside while completely retaining him. The father helps his son, takes him by the hand in order to destroy of the family and accomplishing it within what dissolves it. So this is from Derrida Aporias, page 13, 14. From Inter-Inclusion site. And I had some self-inquiries and realizations which turn... So, like, self-inquiry is we go inward and we're curious, we're open, we ask. Then we can have realizations, things can become real. First, inside, and then growth. Literally, as we grow in, or there's inside growth. Branches, almost. Therapy is for... number one, I was thinking, therapy is for obtaining skills and training and then transferring them across life. Skills generally most effective when trained, and I would say cross-trained. It's like when... trained using the discuss, observe, rehearse, and apply method. I don't even know where I got that from, but to talk about it, to watch, to practice, and then to apply. I guess I do that somewhat naturally. It's like therapy. We talk about it, then we notice, pay attention, then we can practice, and then we actually can apply the skills. Number 2, fresh perspectives of the family, familial. For example, contempt can feel so normalized that it gets to the point where it's even internalized as self-contempt. And then 3, the roots are what hold us in the storms and droughts. So when there's truly not enough, having to have grown strong roots because it wasn't readily supplied everything that we thought we wanted, turns out it gives us very strong roots. Number 4, becoming dynamic rather than fixed. Children reflect the parental relationship more than either particular, specific, singular, individual it's like the bond between the parents versus each individual parent. So it's not like you're like only like your dad or your mom. You're like their relationship. So it's not just a singular parent, individual parent, specific parent, or particular parent. It's actually like the bond between the parents, a field of both parents, which is not necessarily 1 + 1 = 2 in each trait, aspect, and attribute. So you can't even say I'm like this, like my dad. And this allows for much more potential to heal. Like, I wrote some ideas I was having, which was like chasing someone new, not being satisfied with what I had, or too desperate for love, trying to make my one that I had jealously because I didn't feel loved enough. So these are tactics to get more love, right? When there wasn't enough. Turns out if you have very strong roots of self-love, you could make it through when nobody's loving you on the outside. Then I wanted to share how something, and I will say that these things I'm reading are from close to a year ago, but still, I think they're important. So, core issues, I feel like I had to go deeply, is also care issues, like self-care, the self. I felt like my perfect face and sexy, youthful, fit body with a more appropriate amount of body, of less body here, was ruined. And it reminds me of how as a child I didn't feel, but I felt I wasn't desired, loved, or wanted as much after I outgrew the cute, innocent stage. And I also felt overly wronged, like when I was excluded or pigeonholed, dismissed, ignored, accused wrongly, discredited, and trying to insult or invalidate or rebuke, or to shout back due to being left out, excluded, unfavorited, or exiled as a kid. And I was like feeling dependent on the family for belonging and inclusion, and to be important and respected and seen and beautiful and worthy of positive attention, and to feel popular at home. And Venus Winslow, she's a coach. So I had a talk with her. Actually, I had maybe even more than one. I recommend her. Anyway, some things that she shared. I also went to a lot of workshops from her, and not just workshops. I went to a few workshops. I went to her summits. She has these online summits. Anyway, she said old habits keep us stuck more than anything else. We all have kinds of excuses why everything and everyone else is more important than taking care of what's really hurting us. Even if we're blaming them, like even if we're saying everyone's so bad, I'm such a victim, they're so mean, they're, on purpose hurting me. So even if we are like denigrating is the word someone told me once, denigrating them, right? Staying in our unhealthy patterns reinforces our internal struggles. So we're going to give some examples like low self-esteem, shame, guilt, anxiety, and fear of judgment, conflict, so anxiety, low self-esteem, and shame and guilt, but also a fear of any kind of like judgment, conflict, rejection, disconnection, confusion, or indecision, and also a prolonged and unprocessed grief. Plus, these internal struggles manifest in our life as people, pleasing, and also perfectionism. It can be very overwhelming. The emotions can be very overwhelming, and there's also inappropriate behaviors. The person becomes vulnerable to being controlled and manipulated and abused, and also there's toxic stress, mental, physical, spiritual dis-ease, not an ease. Habits, and these are, when we're talking about old habits, talking about habits of thinking, feeling, and behavior due to a subconscious program that is running in the background of our awareness, and we cannot change it until we become fully aware of it, understand ourselves, and have the support and tools to make changes that will improve our lives and our relationships. I'm going to read that again. Habits of thinking, feeling, and behavior. So old habits keep us stuck more than anything else. Habits of thinking, feeling, and behavior due to a subconscious program running in the background of our awareness. We can't change it till we become fully aware of it. We have to step back even deeper in ourselves to see it versus looking through its lens. We then can understand ourselves from that deeper place, and from that place we can be resourceful and get all the support and tools that we need to make the changes to improve our life and lives, each one individually, and relationships. And then I wanted to finish today with, I'm not a failure, maybe. So I don't want to die, so maybe I don't want to be perfect if that means I die. Maybe I'm high. So in other words, maybe, like using maybe as a way to consider difficult, basically thoughts that were repressed. So thinking like, if I'm perfect, then I have to die because then I don't need to live anymore. Living as a human being is to make mistakes, to grow, to change. You never know if you're perfect or not. So thinking that I was controlling my life by not being perfect. Maybe I'm hiding my by my imperfections, or maybe I want attention, and it's maybe safer to get attention for flaws rather than gifts, because maybe people will, you understand that. If your gift is like something precious like diamonds, maybe it's better to like have people think you're a beggar than to have people think you have diamonds. Who knows what people will do if they know you have diamonds. So I have to consider where I came from. I actually did that to myself tonight. It's nice to see the growth from since I wrote it, like, and also what I've been practicing, like telling myself, like, you know, with a mother like that and a father like that, it's no wonder. And it wasn't even putting them down. It was saying, look at where I come from. Like, you know, sometimes it's not good chemistry that creates a viable baby product, but rather reactive, triggering, even explosive, corrosive, and even it can be malevolent causing. So just this idea of like, you know, maybe what I think was bad is actually able to bring something very good. Growth and being nurtured effectively from someone happens when feeling safe, accepted, basically learning and trusting. Feeling safe, accepted, respected, rather than projected on, treated as less than, an object of someone else's pity, control, or agenda, and feeling pigeonholed. Like, in other words, you know, labeled, categorized. So, everyone has different roles when they're experienced, expert, wise, and strong, and others where they're new, ignorant, unaware, unskilled. And when we say new or ignorant, we really mean naive in that area. Can't compare an area of excellence to another for measurement, because maybe that's their area of failure, or maybe unexplored territory. Who knows? Sometimes people find they have amazing new skills. I had years of friendship, youth, popularity, beauties, health, endurance, strength, travel, boyfriends, camping, festivals, outfits, sexiness, good hair, fun, laughter, parties, and the pictures to prove it, just like a reminder that I did all that. You know, I don't need, if I ever needed to find pictures of it, I could find it. It's like in case I forget that I proved to myself, you know. And then also recognizing I'm a growth-oriented person, even though no one in my family was. Very, and I would add very encouraging. It's not that people were not growth-oriented, it's just that there was little encouragement. And I ended up mostly alone because most people are not growth-oriented, or we could call people risk takers. And finally, I learned how to be someone who has a self that can be flexible and a mind that can play. I guess everyone has to arrive to that on their own. Can't force or teach someone else to do that. So that's all for today. All the best. Bye-bye.